she found an easy witness, an older witness, and I think she knew that this was a person who could not defend herself and who could not attack back. And what she did that day on July 19th, 2022 to Beth Turner was, I believe that her intent was to kill her.
For someone to do that to someone who's just coming here for family vacation shouldn't be put out in the community.
Calling 2022 CR 9680, State of Texas versus Priscilla Joyce Gonzalez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Lindsay Shaw for the state.
Defense?
Christine McDonald for Priscilla Gonzalez.
Are you Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am.
Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No, ma'am.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 13 years in the prison. You entered a plea to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The state is opposing your application. And defense, any witnesses?
Judge, I have one. And if I could just get some exhibits to please.
Okay. No, I mean, the state will go first, but I'm just wondering if you have witnesses.
Well, possibly two is my client.
All right. State, do you have any witnesses? All right. And Ms. Abrams, if you'd like to go over conditions with them, you can because they have witnesses. All right. State, call your first witness.
Calls Ruth Turner.
Ruth Turner. All right. Ms. Turner, I'm going to ask that you keep your voice up so that the court reporter can hear. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. All right. You can lower your hand. Can you state your name for the record?
Ruth E. Turner.
All right. State.
Good morning, Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner, I want to start out by asking you, where do you live?
In Broad Necks, Virginia.
And how long have you lived there?
Probably now about 20 years.
Okay. And back in July, the specific day, let's see, was, I'm sure you can tell me the specific day, but let's
The
see,
19th.
July 19th of 2022. Were you in San Antonio, Texas?
Yes,
Why were you in San Antonio?
to celebrate our niece's 16th birthday.
And who all came with you to San Antonio?
My husband, Frank, Deva, and myself.
Okay.
All right. And if you'll just speak into the microphone, then she'll be able to hear. All right. State.
And so you said your husband, Frank, and your niece, David Turner.
Yes.
Do you recall on July 19th, 2022, when you were assaulted, and we're going to get to that, but how long had you been in San Antonio before that day?
We arrived on Sunday, so we've been here. This was our third day.
Okay, so only your third day in San Antonio.
Yes.
And so do you remember that day well?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So let's talk about that day. What had you done that morning?
We had gotten on the bus to take a tour of the city. We stayed on the bus for two complete tours. And I needed to go to the restroom.
Okay, so at some point you got off the tour bus,
Yes,
and did you go to River Center Mall?
yes,
And did Frank and David go with you as well?
yes. We went all together.
Okay, and which restroom did you go to?
We went to the lower level because it was the first one I saw, and at my age, I can't tarry very long.
And Ms. Turner, how old are you
I'm 76 now.
Okay.
I'm 75 now.
at the time? Okay,
Yes.
so once you, do you recall when you went to the restroom, were there other people using the restroom at the time?
No, there was no one in there except me.
At what point did you see the defendant come into the restroom?
I was washing my hands at the sink.
And when you first saw her, what did she do?
She barely glanced at me. I smiled, but no words were spoken.
So no words between you or her were exchanged.
No.
And at some point, did she begin assaulting you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, attacking you.
attacking me
And
from behind.
Okay, so I want you to walk the judge through that. How did it begin?
I felt severe pain around my scalp and my neck. And suddenly I was being thrown into the floor. I
So-
had sandals on, so I really lost my balance very quickly.
So when she began attacking you, was she stabbing you?
Yes,
Okay, and where was she stabbing you?
in the back of my head in the beginning, but once I was on the floor and she was on top of me, the stabbings were primarily in my neck and around my ears.
Okay, so she began stabbing you in the back of your neck and your head,
Yes,
and then she pushed you to the ground.
yes,
And once she got you to the ground, did she get on top of you?
yes.
How was she on top of you?
She was straddled me like a horse with her knees at my sides.
And she continued to stab you while she was on top of you.
Yes,
And did she ever say anything to you?
no.
What did you say?
I
did you
asked
do?
her why she was doing this to me, and I started screaming for help. I noticed on the walls of the bathroom blood splatter, so I put my left hand on my jugular carotid and tried to finger off with my right hand.
How do you know to do that?
I was an RN.
And at some point, did your niece Dava come into the bathroom?
Yes,
Okay. And once she came into the bathroom, was the defendant still stabbing you?
she had drawn the knife up by her right ear. And it had to be a God thing because the only thing I could think of was to utter, "Father, forgive her, for she doesn't know what she's doing." And it was like a freeze frame. She froze in place.
And when Dava came to the bathroom, what happened?
Dava saw what was happening very instantaneously, took out her knife and stabbed my assailant in her back.
And once Dava did that, did the attack end?
On me, yes.
Did she then try to go after Dava and your husband, Frank?
Yes, she instantly got off of me and from that point on, the relief on my person was immediately taken away.
And I want to show you some pictures, Ms. Turner. Now, you've looked at these pictures today, but this morning, correct?
Correct.
And if we start with State's Exhibits number 2, 3, and 4, you've seen these pictures today, is that right?
Correct.
And they're a fair and accurate depiction of the scene of
Yes.
that day and how it happened. And they've not been altered, correct?
Correct.
At this time, the state would offer State's Exhibits 2, 3, and 4 into evidence pending objection. May I tender to the court, Judge?
Yes. So states 2, 3, and 4 are admitted without objection.
So, Ms. Turner, after the attack stopped, were you taken to the hospital?
Yes.
And can you tell the court what injuries you sustained?
I was diagnosed with having at least 10 stab wounds. My infernal jugular was severed. There was numerous nerve endings that were severed. 24 hours afterward, I went into a traumatic atrial fibrillation, which meant I had to be put on blood thinners and a beta blocker. The blood thinner alone is over $500 a month. So far, I think I am in normal sinus rhythm, but I don't go see a cardiologist until the 18th of May.
And you also had your right earlobe was severed? Is that
Yes.
right? And that had to be sewn back together.
Yes,
And you also sustained broken ribs, is that right?
on both sides, yes.
And are you still, as far as your wounds, they have healed, We can see that you still have scars from those. Is that what we can see on your neck today?
Yes, yes.
And do you even to this day experience pain from your wounds?
Yes.
What kind of pain is that?
It's primarily any touching sensation of my ears and parts of my neck. I have no sensation of hot or cold on my neck, only pressure.
Okay. And then I guess I'll go ahead and show you states exhibits 5, 6, 7, and 8. Are these also pictures you have reviewed before testifying today?
Yes,
And are they pictures of you in the hospital
yes, at Brook Army.
before and after you received medical attention
Yes.
or in surgery, right? Have they been altered in any way?
No,
At this time, I'd also offer states exhibit 5, 6, 7, and 8 into evidence pending objection.
Objection, Your Honor.
May I tender to the court, Your Honor?
Yes.
Offer into evidence and tender.
Right, states exhibits 5, 6, 7, and 8 are admitted without objection.
Ms. Turner, after all this happened, you had to go through a 4-hour surgery, is that right? Have you had to have follow-up treatments and surgeries since this happened?
I've had follow-up treatments for this.
What kind of treatments have you had to go through?
I've had to have an echo to make sure that the jugular had no problems as far as obstructions within. I've had a cardiovascular surgeon check me. I've had a cardiologist check me and my primary care physician to make sure my medications are proper.
And Ms. Turner, how has this affected your life? How has this changed you? How has this impacted you?
Unfortunately, I'm now an elderly person. Prior to, I was vibrant, active, socially engaging. Now I find that I'm just old.
And have you seen changes in Dava as well? Have you seen her have to struggle through this?
Absolutely.
And
yes.
your husband Frank as well?
Absolutely.
And Ms. Turner, lastly, I'd like to ask you, what would you like to see happen to Ms. Gonzalez for what she did to you?
I've prayed about this a lot, and I would sincerely pray that the Lord work in her life and that she will come in contact with somebody that will introduce her to Jesus and let her know that God loves her and can give her peace and comfort that nobody on planet Earth can. And I would like justice to prevail.
Would you like to see her go to prison? And I know that that's a hard question, but do you feel that she is someone who should be out free in the community?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'll pass the witness.
Yes.
Have any of your loved ones ever suffered from any type of mental health illness?
Yes, our niece has had issues with depression.
What about schizophrenia?
She's never been diagnosed with, and none of my family has.
And you said that you work in the medical profession,
Yes,
so you're familiar with what kind of symptoms someone with that diagnosis would have, right?
yes.
Would you agree that people with that sort of diagnosis need help?
Oh, absolutely,
They need treatment?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, any other questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. I will tell you this, San Antonio is a nice place with nice people. I'm so sorry that your trip here ended that way. All right, thank you for state. Any other witnesses?
Judge, may I just have one moment? I'm going to confer with
Sure. All right, so just so everyone can know, I've read the police report and I've read the stipulations.
Okay.
All right, you can come forward. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you hear will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you're gonna have to speak up.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, State your name for the record.
David Turner.
State.
David, I just want to ask you a couple of questions, okay? And mainly I want to focus on how this has impacted your own mom, Ruth Turner. How have you seen, how did this change Ruth? How have you seen changes in her?
First off, she's a very religious person, and I thank God that she has deepened her faith and is so grateful for what God has done in her life. Second, she's a very hardworking woman. And after this attack, she no longer had that sort of spirit in her. And that pains me probably the most.
And has it also been hard for you to cope with the effects of this attack and what happened?
Yes. I've been ridiculed at school for being the person who stabs people. I've had my PTSD come back. I've had flashbacks. I still hear screams at night. It's hard.
Is there anything else you want to tell this court?
I don't think a person like this should be let out back in the community because we're not even from here. And for someone to do that to someone who's just coming here for family vacation shouldn't be put out in the community for her to harm other people.
Thank you, David. No further questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you. State, call your next witness.
We have no more witnesses, Judge.
All right, defense, do you have any witnesses?
What started as a family vacation in San Antonio turned into a terrifying fight for an elderly woman's life. Ruth Turner was attacked inside a mall restroom and stabbed repeatedly until a family member rushed in and stopped the assault. But when this case finally reached sentencing, the courtroom faced a much harder question. Was this simply a violent crime, or was it the result of a mental health system that had already failed? The judge heard the victim's heartbreaking testimony, the defense's argument for treatment, and evidence about the defendant's history of severe mental illness. But despite acknowledging that the system had failed her, the judge still had to make one final decision: prison or probation. And when that decision finally came, the courtroom went completely silent.
Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, just argument.
All right, court will hear brief argument. State.
Judge, what Ms. Gonzalez did to Ms. Turner, to Frank Turner, to David Turner, is horrendous. I think Ms. Gonzalez is lucky to be standing here in front of you today with only this charge, with only aggravated assault, because what she did that day on July 19th, 2022 to Beth Turner was, I believe that her intent was to kill her. She was going to, she found an easy witness, an older witness, and I think she knew that this was a person who could not defend herself and who could not attack back, and she preyed on her. She made that decision to go in there and stab her numerous times. And then she had the gall to tell the police after she was stabbed by Dava, when Dava was protecting her aunt, her grandma, that the bitch stabbed me. I believe those were some of the words that she used. And I understand that Ms. Gonzalez has mental health problems, but I think what the court has to consider is the severe threat that she poses to not only this community, but herself. And I think someone like this, where she needs to spend some time is the prison. And she's been treated and she's had treatment in the past, and she continues to exhibit this type of behavior. And I think it speaks for itself when we look at the fact that she was released from Nick's hospital on January 25th, 2019. And but a few days later, she commits an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, separate from the case that we're here for today. I think she is violent, and she has shown this court that with the fact that these are the types of offenses she continues to commit. I
Right, and
also
counsel,
wanna-
what do you say to the fact that the state presented a witness, a mental health expert, that she was released and she was not, and she should not have been released from the mental health hospital? It was a situation, which I've seen before, where people have mental health issues, they get treatment and they just stabilize them and then release them without medication, without proper support, and just send them back into the world because not my problem. I want to move on to the next person and we're done. Woo! Thank you. We got her out of here. So what do you respond to the defense's witness? Because that's what the defense witness said. The defense witness said that she never should have been released from the hospital. And it appears that she was released from the hospital and then immediately went out and committed this act.
My response to that, Judge, is that now we have innocent victims here in the courtroom that are victims of her behavior.
But let me ask you this. How is this any different if somebody is at a hospital for, let's say, cancer or some type of physical illness, and they just get them stabilized and say, good luck to you because your problem is too complicated. We're going to stabilize you and then we're going to send you out into the world. Let's say somebody goes to a hospital and they are bleeding or they need a heart transplant. And they say, you know what? Your case is a little bit too complicated. I know you need this heart transplant immediately, or I know you need these stitches immediately, but you know what? We're going to give you a Band-Aid because great. We've stopped the bleeding. We know you're going to end up needing stitches, but we're not going to do that. We're going to send you back out into the world. Good luck to you. And they end up bleeding because they didn't get the stitches. The problem is people treat mental health differently from what they treat people who have cancer, who need a heart transplant. Basically, the evidence that I've heard from the defense's witness is she never should have been released from the hospital with her mental health issues. There's no doubt in my mind that she was going through an episode when this offense was committed. The only issue for the court to consider is whether or not she should be going to prison or whether or not she should be going to probation. So if you all want to address issues for closing arguments, it would seem where the address should be coming in from both parties would be, was she released from the hospital? Should she have been released from the hospital? Did they know releasing her from the hospital, she was going to have an episode? Did they know they were sending somebody out in this world with schizophrenia, with no medication to go forth on their own? And as I told both parties, I'm aware of mental health conditions. I'm aware of what happens with people who have schizophrenia and they not receive treatment. I'm aware of what people who don't receive treatment for bipolar. And I'm aware of the system where people are tired. People don't want to deal with anybody who is causing problems at the state hospital, wherever they be. And their thing is, let's med them up. Let's get them stabilized so we can push them on. I read all the documents. I read all the defense's documents. I read the PSI report. I read the stipulations. And the documents that's been provided to the court by the defense is they wanted to get rid of her because her problem was too complicated. And then I read the the documents that were admitted without objections, where when she first came in to see them, she was accusing people of raping her, accusing people of beating her up, accusing people of stabbing her father, accusing people of out to get her, accusing the staff of rape. And they didn't quit on her. They just said, well, she's accusing staff person of rape. It's not true. What we're going to do is we're going to end up having more people in the room. So those are the issues that need to be addressed for the court to make a decision on whether or not I'm sending her to prison or sending her to some sort of inpatient treatment facility. So that's what I would like to hear in closing, because honestly, I already know. I know that she did a terrible thing to the complainant in this case. I know that this complainant was laying bleeding on the floor in the restroom. I know that she was here in San Antonio trying to enjoy her vacation, that she was on a bus. So if both parties can focus on why I should send her to prison or why I should give her probation. I already have read and I know that the complainant in this case could have died. I know that the complainant's relative came in and saved her life. I think that if the complainant's relative hadn't come in at that point in time, she would probably be dead. I know from witnesses' statements that the complainant's life is never going to be the same again. I know that she's not going to be able to do everything that she used to do. So if everybody would like to focus on that, that would help the court make a decision. And I have an open mind both ways. So I will hear argument.
I guess, Judge, it comes down to if she receives probation and she does some sort of outpatient treatment, she eventually will be back in the community. And I think it once again raises the danger level to the community.
So you're saying it would be fine for her to be on probation if she's in inpatient treatment for the entire length of probation?
No, I'm saying if she's on probation, she will be out.
All right, so let's say she goes to prison. At some point in time, she's going to get out of prison because the state is not asking for a life sentence. She's not looking at a life sentence for this offense. So when she goes to prison, if I send her to prison and she gets out, then where are we?
Well, I mean, but Judge, I think the arguments to me made if she gets probation as well. Probation isn't something that lasts forever either. So either she's going to be on probation and be putting the community at risk because she's not in prison, or she's going to be in prison.
Well, if she's on probation,
treatment while she's in prison.
if she's on probation and she's in a facility, because she can be on probation for 10 years. And if she's in a facility for 10 years receiving treatment, how's that any different than her going into prison? And what the state has offered her for a prison sentence, she will be eligible for parole in half the time. And if she's stabilized, she's probably going to be released in half the time. These are questions the court has.
What it comes down to for the state judge is just the level of violence that is this case. I think it's a person who deserves to go to prison and work on her mental health there. There's treatment that she can receive while she's in prison. It's not like we are sending her to prison and she won't receive any type of treatment while she's there. I think, but that gets her out of the community and off the street and prevents her from committing yet another aggravated assault. And I noticed in some of the records from UHS, it says the officer states that she's getting into arguments with other inmates for actions seeming manipulative and attributed to behavior. I think even if she were to be in some sort of inpatient treatment, she's putting others at that treatment facility in danger from her violent or aggressive behavior. And so a person like that who is even showing signs of aggression while being held in a hospital or inpatient type facility, the safest place for everyone is for her to be in prison.
So your answer then is let her cause trauma, and be violent at the prison with other inmates?
I believe prison and her receiving treatment in prison is more appropriate than her being on probation.
Can I proceed?
Yes.
Judge, I know you're aware of this, but I just want to emphasize universal underfunding, no consistent individualized care, lack of beds available, revolving door hospitalizations, too few intermediate care programs. Judge, that's just a snapshot of some of the inadequacies of our mental health system. As my witness pointed out, we've come a long way, Judge, but my client is an example of what happens when we fail, Judge, and our mental health system failed her. I am in no way trying to minimize the pain that family went through. My heart goes out to them, Judge. But the reality of my client's life is one day she woke up and she heard voices. I know this court has gone over the PSI, Judge, She graduated from high school. She was in college for some time, Judge. She wanted to be a medical assistant. My client had dreams. And I do want to address, the state asked Ms. Morales if my client is a dangerous person. And that just goes to the stigma of mental health, Judge. My client is not a dangerous person. She is sick. She is symptomatic, but she can get better. She's never received a chance to get better, Judge. I'm not asking for her to go into the community. I'm not asking for you to put her on probation, release her tomorrow, put her on outpatient, and send her on her way. We saw what happened, Judge. We saw what happened since back in 2015 when these hospitals did that. And not, these are medical professionals notating on the date of discharge that she's still psychotic, that they're still having to monitor her every 15 minutes. And then not only that, method of specialty, they explored the avenue of sending her to SASH. Why they didn't do it is absolutely beyond me, because maybe we wouldn't be here. If my client was committed back then in a hospital, inpatient, receiving the care that she needs, Judge, that would have given her insight, because lack of insight, that's a symptom of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, as you know, affects our brain and how we react. And with medication, it can be managed, Judge. You ask the state what's going to happen when she gets released. Judge, she's going to be worse. She's going to be worse, and it's going to lead right back here. If she's inpatient long enough, Judge, my client has the chance to lead a normal life. I wish that things were different, that maybe our office came in contact with her sooner, but Judge, we didn't, and we're here today. And my client is begging you for help.
All right. So with regards to this case, was there a request for a sanity evaluation? Was the sanity evaluation completed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was the result of the sanity evaluation?
She was deemed sane, Judge.
Okay. All right. Ms. Gonzalez, I do feel as though Bexar County and society should apologize to you. And let me just tell you why. Because it's clear from the court that you should have been at a mental hospital, but somebody dropped the ball. Somebody just wanted to do triage and send you out into the world, knowing that you should not have been sent out in the world, that you probably should have still been at the mental hospital receiving treatment. And they should apologize to the complainant in this case as well, because who knows, maybe that would not have happened to her if you were where you were supposed to be. But at the same point, I'm looking at the photos. Have you seen the photos of the injuries? Counsel, do you want to show the photos to your client? And I wanted you to see those because I wanted you to know what, and I'm sorry, counsel, this is for you as well. I wanted you to see those because I wanted you to know everything that I'm looking at and everything that I'm considering. And I take all these cases very seriously. And people don't realize sometimes how hard my job is because everybody wants something. I know what the state wants. I know what your attorney wants. I know what the complainants want. And then I have to make a decision. And part of my decision making is protecting the community. I look at your criminal history, consider any other evidence that's presented to me to make a decision, right? Now, this case would be so easy if you were found insane at the time of the offense, because if you're found insane at the time of an offense, then that basically means you don't know right from wrong. And that means, and your attorney will tell you, that means that you're not responsible because basically you don't know right from wrong. You understand? But in this case, it's not a situation of you not knowing right from wrong. All right. And I do understand mental health issues. And as a defense attorney, I had so many clients who had mental health issues, and I had so many clients who ended up being under a doctor's care for the length of the offense that they were on. I had some clients who were found insane, and they were charged with murder, but they were found insane, which would mean because the range of punishment for murder is up to life in prison, they would be under care for life. But I don't have that situation here. So I don't have somebody saying that you were insane at the time of the offense. And the reason why I'm taking my time, and I try to do this with everyone who's before me, so that they will know that I listened and I heard their witnesses and I heard what was given to me. Because I never want anyone to appear before me and they assume that I'm not listening to them. Because sometimes you may see me doing 3 things at one time and people are like, oh, judge is not listening. But I do. I'm able to multitask. And so I have listened to everything. And it is a shame that you were not given the help that you needed at the time that you needed. And it was a shame that they released you. But with that being said, I don't feel comfortable granting your application for deferred adjudication. So I am going to find you guilty. According to the plea bargain agreement, it is a cap of 13 years. Does anyone wish to speak to the cap?
I do, Judge.
All right. State?
Judge, the state is fully aware of the plea bargain agreement. We made that agreement. We feel that the cap and you reaching the cap is appropriate, or that's not the offer that we would have made based on everything, based on the case itself, based on all the facts. That was the plea bargain agreement that we made and defense agreed to. And so for that, we're going to ask the court to use its judgment, but we are asking the court to considering everything to meet the cap.
And Judge, may I proceed, Judge?
Yes.
Judge, I'm asking you to take into consideration all of the documents that I provided to the court today, Judge. As you have recognized, my client has been sick for a very long time. And because of that and those mitigating circumstances, Judge, I'm asking for the lower end of the punishment range, Judge.
All right. Ms. Gonzalez, what do you think you deserve? What do you think would be an appropriate sentence for you?
Some medical treatment at a hospital, outpatient aid.
All right. So that ship has sailed. So you're going to be going to prison. So the state is asking for 13 years.
I want him to be getting some kind of treatment in here. If they have
Well,
treatment in here, I could take it in here.
Well, here's the thing. At the prison, they do have a mental health treatment facility there. And I'm going to put on the docket sheet that you receive and that you receive the mental health that they provide.
You know what? Then maybe I should read my letter so you understand, because I don't think I deserve to go to treatment. Perhaps you need to listen to my letter. I don't think I deserve to go to treatment, because this is what I have to say.
All right. Well, just a second. This is what the court is going to do. The court is finding you guilty. The court is going to sentence you to 12 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's restitution, if any, to Ruth Turner. There's to be no contact with Ruth Turner, Frank Turner, Dava Turner. I'm going to recommend that she be placed at the Texas Mental Health Unit at the prison. There's an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon.
Well, what I have to say is why I deserve mental health treatment here if they have it.
Okay.
Instead of going to prison. Since 2015, I was hearing voices and I heard screams, and I had saw flames, little images of flames, in my visions around the room in my house. And I told my parents about it and I cried because of these visions of people coming in my house. I told my mom about it and she took me to the hospital to get medical treatment. I went to several hospitals and was taking medicine for schizophrenia, seeing flames and hearing voices, but I don't believe I was myself. I'm not a murderer. According to what the pictures I saw, the stab wound was on the right side. She doesn't have stab wounds on the right side of her neck. And I saw it. I stabbed her right here. She doesn't have that. And I don't
All right, so
believe I
Miss-
was myself. I was
Ms. Gonzalez? All right, let me explain something to you, okay? All right, so I understand what's going on in your life. And I understand that the state hospital and those people in the medical field for mental health dropped the ball. They didn't do right by you. That is why I'm giving you 12 years in prison as opposed to the 13. What I'm telling you is at the prison, I'm going to request that you be placed in the mental health unit. And defense, I know you're aware that there's more than one mental health unit, so they'll evaluate her and see which mental health unit is appropriate for her stay. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. We can go off the record. Counsel, thank you for presenting that information to the court, and hopefully, the state hospital will do better. Thank you.
In the end, the judge made it clear that this case was about more than punishment. She acknowledged that the defendant had been failed by the mental health system, but she also couldn't ignore what happened to Ruth Turner, or the danger the court believed could come from releasing her back into the community. The result was 12 years in prison, with a recommendation that she receive mental health treatment while incarcerated. And perhaps the most chilling part of this entire case is that the judge openly recognized that Ruth could have died that day, and that her life would never be the same again. So what do you think? Did the judge strike the right balance between justice, public safety, and mental health treatment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this courtroom breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because there are plenty more intense courtroom cases coming your way.